Okay, so Matt, you indicated that Allison, your beautiful wife,
Yes.
used to have some phone phobia.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about that. How did she get over it? Because I know that there's a lot of photographers out there who have extreme dislike of the phone.
Yeah, and her phone phobia wasn't anything that nobody else deals with. She just, the last thing she wanted to do was pick up the phone and call somebody. You know what I mean? But it's not like she hated talking on the phone, like she was scared of the phone. It was nothing like that. But, like given an option to send an email or a phone call, she'd make the email happen.
Sure.
But we knew phone calls were going to be so much more effective. And so for a while there, we addressed it as an issue. First step is identifying that you have an issue. And then we talked through it and tried to figure out what really was going on. And some of them some of it was confidence issue that just came over time as our business grew and was around longer. But some of it was the fear that someone was going to answer the phone and really you'd have to talk to them about something. So we made a plan, like this is what we're going to call them about, like have a reason to call them. But then also we tracked for a while how many, just on a piece of paper, like how many people we left messages with and how many people we actually talked to. And it was amazing, like when you realize that you're only talking to like less than 10% of people on that particular thing, you can crank out 30 phone calls in an afternoon because you're only going to probably talk to one or two.
Right.
And it just seems more, like it just seemed more attainable that like, okay, I'm going to call 30 people. It seems like a lot, but I'm only going to have one conversation and I'm going to leave 29 messages. But then over the next week, all those other messages or those other phone conversations just trickle in slowly, and it's totally manageable. It's not something overwhelming. So we track some data on it to make it not overwhelming.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I do think that this is a pretty common problem that a lot of photographers have. And I notice it with teenagers too. Like teenagers hate talking on the phone because they're not used to it. They're used to texting and emailing and Snapchatting and all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really has removed the personal touch. And, it's interesting because that's what is so important to our business is being personal. And I also think that in an email, the excitement in your tone of voice can't come through.
Or it's not understood.
Yeah, or it's not, yeah, exactly. It's not understood. So that's why I think even if you are leaving a message, it's so important to do it in person because they're going to sense your excitement. They're going to know that you're genuine and that you really care about them as a family, as a senior, as a couple, whatever you're photographing. And that is going to be really, really important.
Yeah.
So, we have found that our booking rate has gone way up when we do, pick up the phone. And if we ever have a lull in business, we pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And we call people that we haven't seen in a while. And we just say, "Oh my gosh, we miss you.
Yeah.
Come on in. Sessions on us."
Yeah, that's like we got time, and they're like,
yeah.
"Oh, actually, we have some time next week too." Like, I don't know. I mean, it's a pleasant surprise for people to get called nowadays.
Yeah. Do you think it's people our fear of rejection that they're gonna that people are gonna say, "Oh, I don't want to work with you anymore," and that's why they're afraid to call?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think you necessarily have to like call and ask them directly for business. Like you can. Just you kind of know where that relationship is with people. Like some people you can call and say we haven't seen you for a while. Like why don't you come in? And other people you can just call and say hey I'm checking in. I know your son was trying out for football. How'd that go? And they're like oh and like oh but I've been meaning to call you because I need to do this or I need to reorder this print. It's amazing. Like you're somewhere on their list and
right.
it may not be the top so they haven't called you. So I think it is fear of rejection, but you don't have to call and just say hey this is Allison Ragsdale Photography. We want your business. Like it doesn't have to be that conversation. Like it can just be personal.
Yeah, and it's very rare that I can't actually even think of any time we've called somebody where they've said we're never using you again.
I know, right? That's not even if it's true, they don't say that to your face.
Well,
like,
exactly,
mean,
exactly. Yeah. And I can't even think of actually any time where we've had a negative issue with a client that we've where we've reached out to them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nothing but positive. Put yourself out there and take the leap and get over your phone phobia. It will be worth it.
Yeah, and I think the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get for sure.
You bet.
So.